Hi, this is Dan Maher with your Math 93 course. I'm going to go through the syllabus of the course pretty quickly. And also you'll notice that right away on the top of the syllabus here we have, here's my name, my email address, and my office hours are in Wenatchee Hall 2214. That's up on the second floor back in the math area. It's an adjunct office, so it kind of varies where I sit. So I need to come in and look and uh, and ask for Mr. Maher if you can find me back there. A lot of times I'll be in a couple different areas I'll talk about too. But the hours are from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday. Also, this syllabus is for my in-class classroom, and this quarter is kind of unique. I'm gonna be teaching the same class that I have online with you guys, and an 8 o'clock class every day of the week in room 2211. And I just want to extend an invitation. If you want to come in and sit in class, you're sure welcome to. I'll try to probably stay pretty close to in sync between the online and the in-class version. So if we're working on so we should be working pretty close to the same material, so you can come in and get a lecture or come in and have a question, which would be good for the rest of my students too. Well, the textbook is the Elementary and Intermediate Algebra 6th edition by Bittner, Ellen, Bogan, and Johnson. You need the online access code, or you probably wouldn't have get to this video anyway or know how to do that, because you need to be on my math lab to do your assignments, quizzes, and tests. So the calculators, you can have a TI 30 for the chapter tests and or equivalent. Basically, I don't want to have memory on the calculator, so you could store more information like in a graphing calculator. Here's a breakdown of what we're going to go through in this course. I'm not going to talk through all these, but basically about 17 objectives. We go through chapters 1, 2, 3, and the first part of chapter 8. And 2 is on, chapter 1 is really talking about beginning of algebra, what variables are and how to write expressions, and then we start going into properties. And in chapter 2 we start working with factoring and some other things about equations. Chapter 3 is about graphing linear equations. We go through a lot of that material. And then the chapter 8 is the part we go through is systems, which is really kind of like having two linear equations, and we work on solutions for that. And that'll take about the whole quarter to do that. Our final exam, I'll do tests, will be announced and given in my discretion. If you look at your course calendar, which we'll talk a little bit here in the next video about the introduction of, we'll talk about where I think the places you should pay attention to in the software, online software. The final exam is June 10th of this year. Grades are based on points. What I do is I set these levels of percent of your grades into the grade book, so no matter how many homework assignments we have, the amount of points could be a lot more points than what's given in quizzes and tests, but it'll just count for 10% of your grade. And we're going to have quizzes. With the online version, we have certain days, and there's start date, due dates to quizzes, and you get multiple attempts, and that's 30% of your grade. And the idea of the quizzes is to hopefully at least one of those attempts try to do it as if you're taking a chapter test. They'll be very similar, and that'll queue up. Basically, hopefully you'll find out how prepared you are for a proctored chapter test, which are over the majority of your grade. That's 60% of your grade. The tests are proctored with a live person. We'll do a couple different, depending on which campus you're close to, or if you're in a special situation, you need to arrange proctoring outside of the Wenatchee and Omak campuses. You should probably start finding out what's available on that right now. So in that case, basically when you go into a chapter test, you're going to be able to take blank scratch paper, a TI-30 calculator or equivalent, and take the tests. No outside materials, and there will be some kind of time limit on the tests, especially with proctoring, so they can schedule the proctoring more effectively. So usually I give a lot of time to take the tests, and hopefully that's not an issue. The grading for the quarter are as follows here. You need a 60% to get a D or pass the class, and it breaks down in this way. You know, you need 93% to get an A. And basically you'll fail if you have less than 60%. The My Math Lab is required. It's a Pearson product, and here is one of the URLs. You can find it. You can search My Math Lab too, especially on campus. It'll pop right up. Now this course name here for, like I said, I'm using the syllabus mostly to show you that and to explain that I do have a in-class class. This one, notice it says AM8 on it. Your class will have a different one, and we'll talk about that here in that, or if you're watching this in my in-class version, that's the deal. Course ID is here. You'll need that to enter my class. For dropping, this is pretty standard stuff. There's some dates in here. May 13th is the last day to withdraw, and obviously if you're online, it's pretty hard for me to take attendance, but if you're in class, I do expect daily attendance. Some things about homework. You should be the goal to get 100% on all homework. What I do, and I've already made all the assignments, or almost all the assignments for your class. They're all in there. You can work ahead or work at that, or even if it goes past a due date, I allow you to work past due dates. My goal is that, and your goal hopefully would be that you get 100% on your homework. You can use all the resources available with the online course, your books and Google stuff, and Khan Academy is another good resource for instruction and explanations of a lot of concepts, especially around algebra. So, and there's other sources. So your goal should be, I want to get everything right on my homework. I want to practice doing this material correctly. You know, it's like playing basketball. If you can say, I can understand the concept here, or I understand the point. I'm supposed to take this round ball and put it into that hoop up there. And when you practice, you could say, I know I understand what I'm supposed to do. And you might be able to, under no pressure, say, I can make it a layup anytime I want. But why do we keep practicing that? Well, especially when you get under pressure, like in a testing situation. You want to have an experience of succeeding, and so practice it to the point where you get them right all the time would be the goal. Now I do understand you may have other classes that does take more time, but the way the homework is set up, if you do get one wrong, it'll give you another similar problem, and you can do that, and if you get that right, then that wrong answer goes away. So you can put the time in even if you're having difficulty and still get to 100%. Quizzes are given during an assigned period of time. I do allow multiple attempts. What I mean by that, you can do an attempt at the quiz and submit the quiz. You'll get a grade. You'll see what your score is on that quiz, and then you have the opportunity to go back and review the questions you may have got wrong. So you can go in there and say, well, this is what I did, or that would be the point. You can say, well, or if you're not sure what you got wrong, it gives you the opportunity to look it up or ask a question and hopefully fix that before you do another attempt. And again, the idea is that this is like your pre-test in a sense, other than it does have an effect on your grade, but it's like the pre-test. How prepared are you to go into this chapter test where you will not be able to get any help or any outside resources during that one single attempt at that test? So, and that's what my goal for you is in the quizzes, is that it's really to prepare you for this lion's share of your grade, and hopefully we can get past grading and that you learn this material and get comfortable with it and be able to go on and do other classes. Again, the chapter tests are proctored in the in-class version. A lot of times, I was talking about during my office hour, a lot of times I will be in the computer lab on the second floor of Wenatchee Hall, even into that 9 a.m. hour, and sometimes in that 8 a.m. hour, allowing students to do tests and quizzes. So I treat that as I'm the proctor or the supervisor during that testing or quizzing. So if you go to the Adjunct office and I'm not there, sometimes that's where you'll find me, and hopefully you'll know what I look like. I try to set up in a similar area most of the time in that room. So just a note about Special Populations Office. There is a Disability Support Services, and this is in Wenatchee Hall. This is a good resource, especially if you have any issues around testing under pressure, those kinds of things. If you have some accommodations for extra time, those kinds of things. There is a testing center in the first floor of Wenatchee Hall, and if you are qualified for extra services there, you can do that. It also makes available maybe some outside times outside of my normal hours to take a test or quiz. So, but again, that's up to that office to decide whether you have approved or can have extra services down there. And then I do list some things here. You have I have my office hours, my phone number here. This is my cell phone. I can't always respond or answer the phone, but leave me a message and do that. I do check email daily, and so that's a very good method of communication. Again, it is email, though a lot of times it may take me a day or two to respond. The Tutor Center in the library in the Wenatchee campus is an outstanding resource. There are some teachers that are available sometimes, but mostly it's other students that are very familiar with the My Math Labs, so you can do your work up there. Be a great place to go do your homework and have some extra help available if you run into a problem. I also suggest that if for a lot of people to work with other people in a form of a study group where you can do some things together, especially if you have some laptops, you can get a table. There's great Wi-Fi all over the campus. So, and work together on stuff. If you have a question or doing those kinds of things, actually figuring out stuff together or actually helping another student with something that you may know already is a great way to make sure you remember that. And they say the best way to learn is to try to teach it to somebody else is absolutely true. And then Khan Academy, and there's some other sites that are available. If you work consistently, if you consistently work hard at this course, I believe you can succeed, and it's my goal to help you do that. And then here's my little disclaimer that we may change things in the syllabus depending on, I don't know if there's some special circumstances to what's going on in class or something too. I haven't had that happen yet, but anyhow, just quick video, kind of scrolling up and down on this thing again. For the online students, these are not the correct course name and course ID. This is the one for my in-class students, and I'll give you plenty of time, and also some documents should be in your Canvas already with the course name and course ID. So hopefully I have a great spring quarter and we learn a lot, and I'll talk to you later.